In 1963, Henry Ford II wanted to buy Ferrari. He offered Enzo Ferrari millions of dollars. The deal was almost done. Lawyers were reviewing contracts. Then Enzo walked away at the last second. He called Ford's cars ugly. He said they were nothing but assembly line junk. He insulted Henry Ford personally, called him a suit who knew nothing about racing. Big mistake. Henry Ford decided to do something no American car company had ever done. Beat Ferrari at Le Mans, the most prestigious race in the world. Ferrari had won it 6 years in a row. They dominated endurance racing completely. Everyone said it was impossible for Ford to win. Le Mans was Ferrari territory. American cars were too heavy, too unreliable, too crude. Ford spent over $7 million developing the GT40. That's $60 million in today's money. They hired the best engineers from Britain. Eric Broadley from Lola Cars designed a chassis. They built a car from scratch in England, then moved the entire program to Southern California. They called it the GT40. GT stood for Grand Touring. The 40 came from its height, 40 inches tall, so low that drivers had to lie almost flat. Low, wide, aggressive, purposeful. The GT40 had a mid-engine layout, revolutionary for American racing at the time. Most American race cars still had front engines. Old school thinking. The GT40 put a 7-liter V8 behind the driver. The engine produced 485 horsepower. Some race versions made over 500. Top speed exceeded 200 miles per hour. On the Mulsanne Straight at Le Mans, drivers saw 210, sometimes 215 miles per hour. But raw speed wasn't enough at Le Mans. You needed to survive 24 hours of constant punishment. Brakes glowing red hot. Engines running at full throttle for minutes at a time. Suspension hitting curbs at 150 miles per hour. Ferrari knew how to build cars that lasted. Ford had to learn. The first attempt in 1964 was a complete disaster. Ford brought 3 GT40s to Le Mans. All 3 broke down. Gearbox failures destroyed 2 cars. The third lost its rear suspension. None finished the race. Ferrari won again, easily. Enzo Ferrari smiled for the cameras. He thought Ford had learned their lesson, thought they would give up and go home. Ford came back in 1965. They brought improved cars, better gearboxes, stronger suspension, more testing, more failures, more broken cars on the side of the track. Ferrari won again. The press called it Ford's folly. Magazine writers said American engineering couldn't compete with Italian passion. That racing was an art, not an assembly line process. But Ford didn't quit. Henry Ford II kept writing checks. He wanted that victory more than anything. They brought in Carroll Shelby, the legendary driver and engineer, the only American to win Le Mans as a driver back in 1959. Shelby understood what Ford did. You can't just build a fast car. You have to build a reliable fast car. Shelby rebuilt the entire program. He made the car more reliable. Stronger components, better cooling, smarter engineering. He found the right drivers. Ken Miles, a brilliant British driver and engineer. Denny Hume from New Zealand. Bruce McLaren, who would later start his own racing team. They tested for thousands of miles. Not on racetracks, but on regular roads. Hot days, cold nights, rain, everything. They broke the cars on purpose to find weak points. 1966. Le Mans. This was the year everything changed. Ford brought 8 GT40s. An armada. They qualified 1, 2, 3. Ken Miles took pole position. Ferrari knew they were in serious trouble this time. The race started with the famous Le Mans start. Drivers ran across the track to their cars, jumped in and roared away. The GT40s pulled ahead immediately, their massive V8 engines thundering down the straight. Hour after hour, they ran perfectly. No failures, no problems, just consistent speed. Ferrari cars started breaking down one by one. Engines overheating, gearboxes failing. The same problems Ford had 2 years earlier. Now it was Ferrari's turn to suffer. By hour 20, 3 Ford GT40s were still running strong. They were going to finish 1, 2, 3. A complete demolition of Ferrari. Then Ford made a decision that still causes controversy today. They told the lead car to slow down. They wanted all 3 cars to cross the finish line together, side by side. A photo finish for the cameras and newspapers. Maximum publicity for Ford's victory. Ken Miles was leading by several laps. He had driven more hours than anyone. He was the fastest driver on track. This was his race to win. He slowed down as ordered. Professional, a team player, but the rules said something unexpected. In a dead heat, the car that started furthest back on the grid would win. That wasn't Ken Miles. Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon won the race officially. Ken Miles came second. He was furious. He had driven the perfect race and lost because of team orders. 2 months later, Ken Miles died testing the J car, the next generation GT40. The car flipped at 200 miles per hour during testing at Riverside. Miles was killed instantly. Ford's greatest victory came with the greatest tragedy. The man who made it possible never got to enjoy the championship. But the GT40 program continued. Ford won Le Mans again in 1967. American drivers Dan Gurney and A.J. Foyt took the victory. Then 1968 with the Gulf oil livery, light blue and orange. Then 1969 with Jackie X driving. For straight victories. Total domination. Ferrari never recovered their dominance in the late 60s. Today, an original GT40 sells for $10 million minimum. Some go for 15 or 20 million. Only 105 were ever built for racing and road use. Each one is a piece of racing history. Museums fight over them. Collectors treasure them. The GT40 proved something important about racing and business. With enough determination and resources, you can beat anyone, even the greatest, even Ferrari. Henry Ford got his revenge, not by buying Ferrari and controlling them, by destroying them on track where it mattered most, in front of the whole world. This car changed American motorsport forever. It showed that American engineers could build world-class race cars. It inspired generations of performance vehicles. Every Ford GT you see today, the 2005 model, the 2017 model, they all trace back to this car. This rivalry, this victory, this obsession with beating Ferrari. The Ford GT40 is more than a race car. It's a symbol of American determination, pride, engineering excellence, the refusal to accept defeat even when everyone says you should quit. And every time one drives, it reminds us of the day Ford made Ferrari look slow.